Are we recording? Are we live? Can you see me? Sound okay? Alright. Going live in 5, 4. Oh, I stopped. Okay. Hello, I'm James Heaney, and this is Breif News Brief. Today, our first headline is that there is a Thai man facing 37 years in prison for insulting King Bhumipol Adulyadej's dog. Now, on social media, I guess it's completely illegal to make fun of the king's dog in Thailand. Now, luckily, I don't subscribe to their dogma, and I'm able to give you a description of what kinds of insults are being thrown at the dog. Now, I don't know what was said actually on social media, but I can look at this dog right now and tell you some of the reasons that it might have been criticized. First off, it's an old dog. You need puppies. Puppies are cute. Old dogs go gray. They have spotty fur. So in general, it's not a great looking dog. B, that outfit is totally from like late 90s at best. It's not a good outfit. And you're the king's dog? Somebody should take you to Goodwill because you'd be better off with something from the 70s or 80s. Those are much more hip and in style. But that outfit is disgusting. It's just plain, it's blah, it looks Easter, I don't know why. But those are just cosmetic problems with the dog. I would argue that looking in that dog's eyes, you can tell it's a stupid dog. Now sure, it's old. It would be hard to teach any old dog a new trick. But you can just tell that's not your sharpest crayon in the box. That ain't the smartest dog on the block. Now, I would argue that looking generally a dog that stupid when you take for a walk, it eats anything on the ground. Dog turds. But this is what I was trying to avoid saying it. But dumb dogs like that eat dog turds. So coming straight from Breif News Brief, I'm James Heaney saying that the King of Thailand, King Bhumipol Adulyadej's dog eats poo. Now, on to more important topics. We have a video just brought to us live here. It's an Oklahoma hotel. Not entirely positive, but I'm guessing it's a Best Western. There was a man that was arguing 2 charges on his room or credit card. Not entirely sure, but really at the end of the day, he was getting charged for 2 things that aren't said. He got angry. And he told them, he warned them to take those charges off of his room or card, and if they didn't, that he would drive his truck into the hotel. Now, he was caught immediately by police. You see that he gets out of the car with his hands up, and he says, why did you do it? Well, I told them I was going to do it, and I didn't want them to think I was bluffing. Generally, that's just kind of wrapping up what he was saying. So, you didn't want them to think you were bluffing. You weren't bluffing. You drove your car into that hotel. Now, the problem here is there's a lot to break down about this story. A, he gets out of his car with his hands up, right? If this was not Oklahoma and this was Chicago and perhaps he was a different person, he would never have gotten out of the car with his hands up because he would have been shot while he was in the car before he drove into the thing that he said he was threatening to do with a vehicle, which is a deadly weapon. I mean, it's a giant silver bullet with wheels that you could push into anything. Now, so that aside, what do we think this crime is really about? Well, it's Oklahoma, right? And there's some guy with 2 charges. I'm trying to think of the biggest charges that you can get on a hotel. There's probably 5. There's a smoking one, which is like a $200. Like, I have not seen a hotel anywhere that allows smoking inside. Every single one of them says generally, I think it's always the same price, $200 cleaning fee. So he could have gotten 2 of those, which I didn't think of until just now. So my argument of what I thought it was. See, here's what I thought before just now, was that in all likelihood, those charges were pornography. And he's out there on the road, and he's ordering pornography. And if it goes onto his card, either A, his wife is going to see those charges, or B, his company is going to see those charges. First of all, man up. If you're going to watch the porn, then you should take credit for it. I'm not saying that you should charge it to the company, but don't be afraid. This guy's clearly afraid of these charges showing up on his credit card. And what he's decided to do is cause a great deal of damage to a hotel that is going to be paid for by him. I mean, basically, these hotels, it's coming from a guy that tours around the U.S., they don't fill up all the time. It is very rare that a hotel has all of its patrons in its room. So I would say they can argue that them having to close their lobby means they have to close their hotel, and it's not close enough to Christmas. They're not going to be packed. I'd say around Christmas, hotels are going to fill up, but not that much. Really, he did them a favor. They're a hotel in the middle of nowhere in Oklahoma. Now they get to close their doors, write it off for insurance. This guy's going to pay for it, or his insurance will. And at the end of the day, what does he win? If he was trying to hide these charges from his wife, she's going to see that he is featured on Brief News Brief tonight. And I've blown his whole plan out there in the open. Now, finally, the most serious topic of the week is we have Venice School. Well, this is a picture of Venice High School. They closed down today, along with 900 plus schools in the Los Angeles area due to a terror threat. They got an email last night, and it said some specific things that caused them to believe that there was enough risk to close the schools. Now, I think that that's a good idea. You know, we want to be safe. But let's think about this logically. We have more things towards the end, but let's just say it was terrorists, and they were going to attack some school, and we closed them all today. Don't you think that they will just instead do it tomorrow? Or perhaps, like, I don't know. I just don't see how closing the schools today is going to stop it, because unless today was like one of those Jack Bauer 24 days where people are out there like solving this crime, I don't buy it. I don't think they're going to solve it. Or I don't know. It's not that I don't think they're going to solve it, but they don't have my complete faith. Now, the other thing is there was a similar letter written to New York. New York decided not to close their schools. As far as I've heard, it's like 6:30 Eastern time right now. I have not heard about any problems that they've had. So it was definitely a hoax for New York. But in all likelihood, these things are related. LA closed because they said that there was some specific things that made it credible that New York couldn't say was the same for them, like the way they named the schools or blah, 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 blah. So anyways, but in this, the person is claiming to be, and I hope I don't generalize it too much, but generally like an Islamic like state supporter or something like that. And he spells Allah, like not capitalized, which if you're like an extremist, or even like if you're a religious person, you're going to probably know to capitalize that. And also in the title of the email, it used like some sort of I don't know what it is, but pornographic title to it, like the subject line. Now they say that the people that he's claiming to be part of simply wouldn't use that kind of language because it's against their whole thing. I don't know what their whole thing is, but nonetheless, that looks pretty suspicious. I mean, the only thing this thing was missing was a small like cartoon crayon drawing of, you know, somebody that you're not supposed to draw pictures of, and that would have. I mean that, but at the same time, can we really believe this email? I don't think so. I think that we should have. So easy for me to say. But I think we should have left those schools open today because part of the problem was it wasn't very good credibility, and secondly, now the real terrorists have a lot of options on their table. This is what they got a freebie today, and they've gotten to see the way that LA is going to react. They get all of the rewards of terror without actually having to do any terrorizing. They got people to be afraid, close schools, and they realized that they could systematically do threats like this just to shut. Like, you don't even need to back this up. This email from somebody that was clearly not them had them shut down the entirety of LA's schools. Now, if those people see that, what's to stop them from doing that in places like Chicago, Boston, New York, and LA again? I think that we've opened ourselves up. Granted, Do I want to see something bad happen to these schools? Absolutely not. And if it was truly credible, then maybe they made the right choice. But I just think that means we're going to have to be closed forever, whenever. There's always going to be a threat. Now, like, when do you, like, there's no way they checked all those schools. And what happens tomorrow? They're not going to be able to have to police at every single spot. So I just think that we need to be calm, cool, and collected when we make our strategies, because I think we've blown our hand a little bit here. So that's Brief News Brief. Thanks for checking in.